It's Sunday evening here at the Rio+20 Sustainable Development Conference, and we're finding out what's happened on ocean negotiations and those all essential words on getting better governance of the oceans for Oceans Inc. And joining me now to discuss what's been going on is Christina Jurdy of IUCN and also Matt Gianni of the Deep Sea Conservation Coalition, who are going to put us into the picture. First of all, this all-important text that's been negotiated tortuously on the high seas. We were just in a press conference now with the Brazilian government, who have been trying to shepherd these negotiations forward. Matt, you were listening in Portuguese. Very briefly, was there progress and is there blockage?
Well, we understand there is progress, but the problem is that on a really key point in the negotiations, and that is whether to launch a new set of negotiations or a set of negotiations for a new high seas treaty to protect the marine environment of 2/3 of the world's oceans that are out there in international waters. So far the U.S. is blocking it. They're blocking a consensus. There's a couple other countries, but it's mainly the U.S. And so our question to the Brazilian ambassador was, what is Brazil doing diplomatically to try to bring the U.S. on board, or at least to ask the U.S. to stand aside and let a good agreement go through it? So far, it's not clear. Our hope is that Brazil will put some real diplomatic effort into this, speak directly with Hillary Clinton and others, and try to get them on board.
Christina, you are a legal expert on the governance issues to do with the high seas. Just explain how this works, this text, this negotiation process to get it for the leaders to approve or not.
Well, the next step is for Brazil to try to negotiate something that the feeling of the room, that's they've taken on board a number of the comments. They've taken the stronger of the two alternatives that was in the text, which is calling for the immediate negotiation of a new agreement under the Law of the Sea Convention. Other governments were not quite as happy, but there are so many people in the room, so much will to move forward, that is a question, can they actually move forward without these slowpokes coming along?
So there is room to maneuver, and you think there's still hope?
I think there's still hope. I mean, a lot of it's coming down to Brazil right now. They've taken over this conference. They're in the driver's seat. They're putting in some real diplomatic effort into oceans. They've elevated to one of the 4 key issues in terms of the outcome of this conference. And for them to get a win on this, they really need to get the U.S. to stop trying to block this this decision to launch negotiations of a new treaty and get this through the Rio+20 process. If they can do that, we're in good shape.
And Christina, finally, I mean, we're talking about hearing about the U.S. putting blockages on. Who are the champions in terms of oceans?
Oh, well, the champions are clear. It's Brazil, many in the G77, Argentina, that's Ecuador is doing a brilliant job of trying to shepherd and keep together the G77, plus the European Union. They have been committed to this from the get-go. So it's been wonderful to see these groups working together so fervently, and we're just hoping that they can stay firm and make sure this goes up to the highest levels.
This idea of launching a new set of treaty negotiations has been debated for the last 6 years at a working group at the UN General Assembly, and it's gotten stuck. Rio+20 is the opportunity to jump over the heads of that process and really unblock it at a very high diplomatic level and say the world needs to get on the ball on this one and start moving forward. And finally, with the high seas, you need international cooperation and multilateral cooperation to manage those areas. Nobody owns the high seas. It belongs to all of us, and the world has to come together to manage it collectively.
Brazil said today the United Nations is not an academic institution. We've been studying issues on the high seas for the past 6 years. It is now time to take action.
Christina Jurdy and Matt Gianni, thanks very much indeed for your perspectives there on Sunday. We're going to finish now from Oceans Inc., but we'll be hearing more from these 2 experts and more later on this week.